adventure, some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one.
Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Our brothers from the diaspora. Anyone listening to us, whether it's CARICOM or any part of the world, welcome to our program On Target. And as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, any topical issue of the day, any issue trending. But the most important thing, you can introduce your own topic. We take calls. We cut off in the middle of a sentence and take your call. You see, the democratic process in Grenada is alive and well. People have the opportunity to express their views, and our program will create a platform for such. You don't have to be able to swallow the dictionary, or you don't have to have a command of the English language. Once you could communicate, we don't have the ability to understand sign language. But if we could, we'd have entertained you. Once we could cipher out what you want to see, you're welcome on our program. We encourage people, the program is 1 hour. So we encourage you to say what you want to have to see. Say what you want to see. Punch. And you have an opportunity to call back, to rebut. Yeah? And today, so the number to call is 442-0175. In our society in Grenada, we encourage people to hold discussion and come up with answers. None of us is perfect. All of us make mistakes. It doesn't matter who in the country. All fall short of the glory of God. So we must hold discussions and come up with answers. We must have confidence in ourselves. We must believe that we could solve our problems. So even problems in your home, pull the family together and sit down and discuss the problem. The man in the house or the woman in the house must not believe that you alone have the answers. Sometimes the children in school could come up with answers. The children are more versed. They have more time on the gadgets. They use tablets in school. Some children are better on the phone than their parents. They can help. They can research things. Parents obviously have to guide them in using that gadget. But there are a lot of issues you can settle home. Let us suppose you have a home with 4, 5, 6, 7 people in it. One person working. A number of the others in the house is adults and they're healthy. Obviously, you may not have enough income coming in the house. So pull everybody together and hold a discussion. The meeting could sit down and have a discussion. What could we do to bring more income in the house? It's only one person working. We know jobs are difficult to find. If you have children within the age that can go to Project Fly, Imani, or whatever the issue, find out the information, get them involved. You may have individuals in the house who could go and fish. Go in the river and fish. 1 pound of crayfish is about $25. When you come back, maybe the mother or the daughter or one of the boys could make a waters and sell it by the road. These things would sell. So you create industry, you create income. We have to hold discussions. It makes no sense blanketly criticizing everybody. The people who are successful in the community or appears to be successful, we have everything wrong to say about them. Go and talk to them. Find out what they're successful. Ask them. You might surprise to know how willing they are to discuss the issue with you. You know, if we constantly criticizing everything, the children in the house is going to become very negative. Your children going to become very, very negative. Because all they hear the parents doing is running down people and criticizing people. And when you add the politics with it, it becomes worse. So I always believe we should sit down and come up with alternatives. What is the suggestion? What do we do? You know, there are a number of issues in Grenada now that is politically contentious. Nothing is wrong in discussing it. But we must discuss it with a view to find alternatives and options. So if we don't like the manner in which the road is being fixed, maybe we should discuss it and come up with suggestions how the road should be fixed. If we are not satisfied what is done in our community, we must always ask ourselves, what is it we need? I ask this question and sometimes people look baffled. When I ask, what is it you want done in your community? For instance, if you go to River Sally may not tell you a road because it seems that all creek and corner in River Sally have road. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
my brother, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, today I'm going to look on the subject of what it takes for a leader to be successful in life. And that's to be a successful leader, you need to have that in you. You must have love in you, love for people. You must not only love for people, for some people, but you must have love for everyone in Grenada. Yes, even those that hate you, those that might say everything about you, you say to each other, love them. You must have care for people, respect. I must have that of bringing people together, because that is important for someone. And I have to say, for a leader to be successful again, remember that not everybody at same standard. And one of the things that when a leader be successful, what people should do, go to the person and say, yes, I know you come from poor parentage, but you rise to a position where you achieve a lot. What is your remedy? Right? That's what God say. Christ said in His word. When Christ asked them, who you must love? They say you have to love those who love you. He said no. He said those who hate you and those who hate you, you have to love them. And those who love you have to love them. And obviously you cannot win over people by hating or hating them. You must have one way to win over people by reaching out to them and love them. Forget what they say about you. But love is important. Love brings people together. And once you have love, have and care and respect, and you can bring people together. That is what is important. And I always say in life again, Mr. Pierre, it's something you have to share. You have to share your testimony, because sometimes someone may go through certain things. And by what you could say to them, I was in that position, but I decided to raise the nose of my parents, I raise the nose of the community where I'm living, and say to people, is any good thing to come out from that village? And the answer is yes. Once you put your mind and your body and soul behind anything, you could achieve it. Right? Instead of we there pulling on one another, let us come together and to work together for the betterment of all. Not for the betterment of one, but for the betterment of all. And I want to say again, leadership is bringing a good and successful leader is bringing people together, uniting people, and working for the achievement of everyone in the country. Right? Because like some people say, well, if somebody do something, right? You go return back evil. No. God say, leave vengeance up to him. What we have to do? Pray. Pray, like if you didn't have the people robbing you. They go one person and think, no, you don't have to pray. You have to pray for this God to save that person. That they go turn away from the wicked ways and walk in the way of God. And when you walk in the way of God, the village where you live in could be a whole revolutionary turnaround because the people who are depriving you, their life change. So then we have to be, as Christians, we have to be the agent of change. An agent of change where we encourage people that there is someone that loves you, someone that cares. Yes, you might not love the person, but don't forget that you don't love the person. But take the message, what the person giving. The message what the person is giving is very important to help bring development to you and your family. Yeah, because Christ said in his word, I love the sinner, but I hate the sin.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, have a blessing.
Yes, Scholar, thank you. And I think, Scholar, you're really on to Christian love and perhaps a little bit of democracy. Because Adolf Hitler was a strong leader. In communist countries, they believed that if you have 15% of the support of the population, you could control the population. Because they want that 15% to be the army, the military. They lock up those who seriously object to them. They put them in prison. And they control the others through coercion and fear. And that is also leadership. You have dictatorial leadership, autocratic leadership. You have a kind of consensus leadership. And yes, in a democratic country, because you have one man, one vote, love is an important factor. Sometimes we just show love all about the place. But in a democratic country, people want to know you're seeking their interests. Because they know they have power. One man, one vote. The vote of the vagrant is no more valuable than the vote of the doctor or the lawyer. And perhaps a smart politician would put more confidence in a vagrant vote than a doctor vote. Because the doctor may have an emergency election day, or the lawyer may have a good client, and he ain't bother with you. But not the vagrant. 6 o'clock in the morning in front of the police station, in front of the polling station to vote for you. So in a democratic sense, where countries practice democracy, and you have periodic election, you must seek the interests of the people. A lot of politicians make this mistake. They believe because they're bright, they are the smartest things since sliced bread. And they believe they could ignore the people from the lower socio-economic strata, poor people. These generally are the majority of people in a country. And their interests must be sick. And these people don't demand much. They don't ask for much. They don't want much. But they might want the road in Ticolo fix. They might want to know, I want to improve. I want a chance for my child to go to school. My daughter have 2 children and she don't get in a job. So although she have the children, maybe she have the 2 children for 3 months, but she don't have a job. And if she have a little job, she dignity go be intact. She go feel happy. So people want to know government create the enabling environment, not only in the town, but also in the country areas so people could get a job. And they see that as love. So you see, love must be practicalized. A man must do what it is to show love. I mean, if you're a wealthy individual, you could pay a secretary perhaps to provide all the dates, remember the dates when your anniversaries, birthday, Valentine. But some men work hard, but they forget to bring flowers. Or they forget to bring the chicken that people was line up for. I can't remember his name. You know? So you have to practicalize love. And that is where Valentine came out, you know. They say people must show love. Some women accuse Caribbean men of not showing love. They say we don't have love, but it's not that we don't have. The man don't really show love. The woman says she get a man some food, he eat all the food. And when he done, he belch. You don't even tell her thanks. I say since he eat all the food, he well happy with the food. But she expect you to say that was a nice meal, to show little gratitude and etc. And sometimes men have to practice to do that. I think this is good. I even encourage men to bring flowers. Don't tie it up in black plastic. Walk with your flowers and bring for your woman or your friend to show is an expression of love, an outward sign of an inward grace. But we have to remember, there are a lot of different type of leaders. And the leader have to know about his constituents and his clients, and also know what is required. In our country, in the political sphere and in democracy, it's very important for you, a leader, to care and seek the interests of the majority of people in his constituency. Some say seek the interests of everybody. In a lot of instances, there are people who politicians can't help. They could help the politician. So the politician don't necessarily have to seek their interests. These people are capable. In Grenada, we have some people that they don't need the politician. They have the education, they have the clout, they have the resources. So they really need politicians. But you have a number of people, particularly people who come from the poor grouping, the people who fall in the lower income base. The policies of a government could affect them seriously. And that is where the politicians come in and reach out and seek the interests. All politicians in Grenada love people, but some don't know how to carry the baton. You know, when you have a race, sometimes as soon as you hand the man the baton, he falls. So some politicians, you give them the baton to run the relay, and he drop out of their hand. Some of them bolt. Some of them bouncing up other athletes. It's not that they don't love people, but they don't have good, they don't know how to start. They don't know how to function. They don't know the fundamentals. And some of them are very good athletes. There are 2 politicians in Grenada, maybe 3, that really arouse emotion in Grenadians over the last 70, 80 years. One of them is Eric Gay. He won election on more than one occasion convincingly. He was a very polarizing figure. But the majority of Grenadians from the lower socio-economic strata gravitated towards him. And then you had Maurice Bishop. Maurice Bishop aroused a lot of passion. He was loved by a lot of Grenadians. He was a great orator, a great spokesman. He aroused the interest of the international community, university graduates, and a number of people in the Caribbean. But Maurice Bishop was a bad manager, couldn't manage. And the next one is Kit Mitchell. Well, he's one of the best political leaders, the most successful political leader in the Commonwealth. You know, whether we like these characters or not is a fact. And I think Kit Mitchell have the most name in all them politicians. Gary was Eric Matthew Gary. Kit Mitchell is Kit, Claudius, Isaac, Hunter, Joe Mitchell. A lot of names. So obviously, we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
And how are you?
Great, man.
Some of the things you say there, I'm totally in favor of you. Some of what the gentleman say again too, there earlier on, I sort of wondering them. But everybody have the right to their opinion.
I think in terms of criticizing and saying what you want in your village, I think you're totally right, and I support that. If the government is doing something that you do not satisfy with, you have a right to talk out. If the opposition is doing something that you don't like, you have a right to talk out. And that doesn't mean that you hate the government or you hate the opposition. You have a right to look at things that is not done properly and speak about it. And there are a lot of times, the ruling party, the opposition party, there are times that there are things that they're doing that is not right. And you have a right as a human and as a citizen to talk about it. And I have no apology in that. Right? This thing about love. I can't see how I could love somebody who had totally hit me. I may not want to do them the harm that they want to do me, but to love them. You tell me if I have $1 million sharing and I know that person is totally against me, trying to get me dead, trying to get me in trouble, I must love them to give them 500 out of it? I can't say that. And a lot of us may be hypocrite to say yes, we're going to do it. I would not do it. Somebody who is my total enemy, I would not give them. I will not hate them, but I cannot love them. Right? I won't go in their way for them to harm me because I know that they hate me. So I think we have to be very careful with some of our statements. But I remember I said that every man is right in is good to their opinion. I cannot take away what a man have from him. But I cannot. If a man chase me down 5 times with a cutlass to kill me, when I go, he hide in places for me. Are you telling me I have to love that man? That is joking. I wouldn't go in his place, in his area, for him to do me anything. But love is out of it. Now, Miss Pamela, in speaking, made a simple error, and people beating up on it. Well, he who is without sin cast the first stone, and the lady corrected herself, in the same sentence. She didn't leave the stage and come back, she corrected herself. But you're hearing people beating up like it is the worst thing that was done. And every politician before would have made statements wrong. Everyone. The same Maurice Bishop, what you said about Maurice Bishop, you're totally right. Maurice Bishop didn't handle the thing properly, but he was definitely loved by people. Gary was a loved person by people. For that matter, when Gary came to Grenada, he came at the right time when the smaller class of people, the estate workers and the road workers, was such a trample on, was getting the lowest wage and they working hours and whatnot, and he came in at the right time. But he got swell-headed after a time. And we have to admit that. He got swell-headed after a time. But he came at a good time, and he did raise the nose of a lot of people. Mr. Maurice Bishop, yes, he was beloved. But he knew that he had some crooks with him. He knew that. He was told that by Kaunda and Grenadians too. Kakadimo told him that. But he allowed these people to get above him. And he paid for it. Serious. I didn't like how he died at all. So we have to be careful with what we say and how we say it.
Yeah.
What you said about Mr. Kit Mitchell, yes, he's the most popular. And apart from the names you say he's given the most false name. Dr. Stones, he had his Prime Minister. And
Jonah, yeah.
Jonah and whatnot. But he have made more strides than any other politician in Grenada.
He's one of the most successful political leader in the Commonwealth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody could do it. That doesn't say everything he say and do, that I support. But there is none. And when he go, we're not certain that we're going to get one like him, because you don't always have them bundle there, you could and bundle them when you want. But definitely, he have come through a lot of criticism. He got some money that was belonging to him. He said he sorry he didn't get more. He wish he money is his. They beat up at that. But Mr. Tillman Thomas got money too that he put on his bank book.
You just forgot which account
that was belonging to the party. So wrong into wrong is what? Can it be right? Can wrong into wrong be right? You are not the treasurer of the party. You collect money for the party. You put it in your bank account. But they say he was the best, most honest prime minister. How he could be the most honest prime minister and you have money belonging to the party and the executive is not aware of it?
Sometimes you just forget which account to.
His word was so loose, so he built it up.
Forget which account. Yeah.
So we have to be careful.
Yes, scholar, thank you. Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. And the number to call is 442-0175 as we sit down and discuss these issues or any other topic. When you're in politics, you must not have thin skin. And members of the political parties, your skin must not be thin. I notice sometimes political activists are very militant and angry. They don't even want to hold discussion with you if they believe that you wouldn't agree with them. We need to be tolerant. We need to work together as a people. We need to discuss the politics, have some fun, have some humor in it, and always seeking what is the option. You don't agree with something that the incumbent may do, a program or a project they start, what is the alternative? Because people now want to know, if I discard my representative, who has been doing a relatively good job for me, what you going to do? This is an important factor. What are you going to do? And more often than not, that is where a lot of people struggle. It's easy to criticize, but then they don't have option. They don't have choice. For instance, I think the party that is challenging the incumbent must come up with an alternative for the Imani program. They must. That program took a battering from a number of different people, organization, trade union, opposition in the country. And if you have a program that affects 3,000 people, then you must come up with an alternative. You cannot say, I'm going to send these people home. No. And this program has been going on for some years, so it's a kind of temporary, permanent program. You expect this program to go on for the next 10 years. Because the job market is hard. Not only in Grenada, in Barbados today, Mia Motley is saying that you have to have a program to train 3,000 people in technical areas. In Jamaica, they are claiming that the job market needs skilled workers. And Wholeness is contemplating bringing in skilled workers. Well, I take objection to that. Wholeness should imitate the Grenada Imani program. You don't have to call it that. Because this program, in my opinion, is the best program that have been instituted in Grenada in the last 100 years to help unemployed people meet the challenges of the competitiveness of the job market. And if I get new information, I change in my opinion. So if you have other views, you could please tell me. And if you come up with a better program, then I will change my position. But as of now, I think it is a very important program and should continue for a number of years. But gradually, we should be able to cut down the number of people that is involved in this program. It means we have to raise the bar in the schools. Children live in schools. We must have a higher percentage of children live in school that could meet the minimum requirements. And I think that's where the challenge is. Most of the World Bank, the financial institutions are saying One of the problems in the Caribbean is that people don't have the skills for the jobs available. We don't have the skills, we don't have the education, we don't have the attitude. So you have to have a lot of training. But we have a lot of success story. We have some young people from Ticolo working with Sanders, and some of them are in supervising position, and they're doing extremely well. They're doing extremely well, and very young people. We have some people that have been to Nulo, and they find jobs, whether it is plumbing, electrical, with food. And what I like, having spoken to a number of them, they did somewhat contrasting skills. So one girl is an electrician, but she also did food science. Individual is a plumber, but he also did something else. So they increase their competitiveness on the job market. So this is an important thing for us. You know, we have to continue. We have to continue trying to improve in this country, irrespective of the political party. Sometimes it's very difficult for us in Grenada to separate the government from the political party. And government is a continuum, but a political party is not necessarily a continuum. And we have to separate it sometimes. I know that it's difficult because politics in Grenada is very polarizing, and particularly in this period that we face in election. A number of people, or even people who appear or seem to be neutral throughout the year or objective, are now waving the political flag. But we still have to sit down when we in discussion to try to come up with solutions. There are some issues in Grenada now that we must come up with solutions. One of them is the pension issue. The matter went to court. And we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my sister. Good.
How are you?
Great.
Good things I wanted to make mention of. As you were talking
You have to raise your voice a little.
Yeah, I was saying that I was speaking about the money program you were speaking about a little earlier on. Last night I was hearing, that young lady.
You have to keep your voice up first. Yeah.
That young lady, she never attended any secondary school, and she went in the E-money, and now she's studying social, I can't even pronounce the word, but anyway, she came from SU, and she proceeding now to even to
Higher university.
Yes, you know, and that's so excellent of the children, because look at I have a son. He did well in school, but he wanted to go in agriculture. And, you know, he's doing the short crops and things like that. And now, like, since morning we call in different places, you have the crops, and you're just not getting any sale on the crops and things like that. You know, because everybody trying to meet a market for themselves. We can't get vexed about that. You know what I mean? But the children of them is trying so much. You understand?
Yes, Francis. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is not just leaving them behind, let them do their own thing, but them trying to do something to help themselves. And that is excellent, I may think, if you know. So you take care, Mr.
Yes, thank you, sister.
Continue your program.
Yes, thank you very
All
much.
the best. Bye.
Yes, I think we have to provide support for children. When I say the younger ones, because when you're past 16 years, you're in youth. The age of youth is between 14 and 25, based upon the United Nations standard. Generally, the world say up to 35, and NNP raise youth to 39. But we must provide support for the younger ones. I am not satisfied in our country that we have the culture of providing financial support. We have money. Nobody saying about we don't have money. We have money. Why do I say we have money? Because all the financial institutions in Grenada are very liquid. And Grenada have about 100,000 people and about 50,000 vehicles. And over the last 10, 12 years, we practically double the amount of vehicles we have. So it means people have discretionary income. And the tax threshold in Grenada is much higher than a number of countries in the Caribbean. So it means it provides Grenadians with more money. In addition to that, governments spend more money on social safety net program than anybody else in the Caribbean. And the next one, Grenada have the most landowners in the region. So there are some communities like Ticolo. I know of nobody that renting land. There's a conflict for land. The fella say is the grandmother land, and the grandmother say from generation to generation. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, good day, bro. How you doing?
Great, man.
One of the problems I have in this days is with the behavior of some of our trade union leaders. Sometimes I don't know if they're really seeking the workers' interest. I mean, I don't know if some of them really want the people to get a pension, or if they're advocating regime change. I don't know. They must tell us what they really want, or what they really intend to do. I remember one of them advocated regime change for years, and he ended up in jail. You understand? So people have to be careful how they influence, they tend to want to influence people. Because for one, it have a lot of people who would have loved for the union to be there in the meeting with the Prime Minister. You're invited by the Prime Minister. You understand? You go and you talk to him on the behalf of the people who want to know, who only care about when they get in their pension. You understand? But you make your own decision and you sit down, you beat your chest, and you say, well, look, what the court say, the government must adhere to it. But your heads are the bump. You understand? Have a good day.
Yes, my brother. I think sometimes we have to remember this is close to election. And the trade union have their own politics. Sometimes they coincide their politics with the party politics. And sometimes the trade union pick up the political color too. I don't agree with them on not meeting in a meeting. Trade union must always believe we could negotiate. We could hold discussion. The magnitude of that, the economic magnitude of that pension issue makes it practically necessary for discussion. What you had in the court, based upon my understanding, is a judgment from the court, but not a court order. Even the court thought there should be clarity. There is a number of questions that comes out about it. This is not 50 million or 60 million. One individual, Richard Duncan, and I have great confidence in this individual. He was in the Ministry of Finance. So when I speak about him, I feel good. Just as how I feel about Timothy Antoine and a number of other young people that has served this country well in the Ministry of Finance. These people who have gone in any part of the world and get work, but they stay in Grenada. They never said, I'm going to get more money in New York. And Richard Duncan is one of the humble Grenadians that I know, stayed on the job, a lot of them. I just happened to call his name. He said it could be around $600 million based upon rough estimates that was done years ago. So how would government get that money? Through loan, government could sell Nawasa because they don't have much property more to sell. Or maybe they might sell CID. Nobody wouldn't buy the mental institute. A man might buy the prison. So government have to raise funds, and I'm just saying that off. But you either have loans or government raise taxes. In today's society, the tax threshold in Grenada is much higher than St. Vincent and some other countries. It is $3,000. So government could drop the tax threshold to bring more people paying tax. In addition to that, government could tax pension. Government could raise land tax. Because if you have this massive debt, and this money we're speaking about is to pay debt, backlog, is not, then you have to raise money for the monthly bill, the additional monthly source. So you must have discussion. But I'm not surprised the trade union didn't discuss the issue. I thought they was in donkey glory, very emotional, exuberant, and gloating, and maybe lacked the maturity of rationality. I noticed that a long time. I saw the trade union, you had to beg them 2-3 years ago to sit on the negotiating table and exhaust the protocol in place for negotiation. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, is it 27 and a third years of work, or 26 and 3 quarters?
26 and a third.
26 and a third.
Yeah.
To meet the requirement for pension.
And that moved from 33, 26
Right.
and a third, yeah.
Yes. You see, that is what the people, they're not checking and all that, Everybody, because they get off the job, they want the money.
And
Want
even,
what?
and the question is, even that, because that was done after the 1983, 89, and 90 or what? Even
Yeah.
that, what's about the Provident Fund? Even that, one have to ask if other cases could rise as a result of the Provident Fund. Because if you say this is unconstitutional, what happened to the Provident Fund?
Exactly.
Because a number of people never get paid for the Provident Fund, although money was collected for them, incorporated with the NIS.
Yes.
So I always believe that the government needs clarity on a number of points. So even if the government genuinely do not want to challenge the matter in court, they need clarity. Otherwise, some other issues could go in court again.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I thought it was not rational, it was not wise, it was not prudent, it was practically indecent for the trade union not to sit and talk.
Yes, they're talking about money, but they ain't checking on the circumstances, And they call themselves bright. At least they're brighter than me.
Well, sometimes people bright, but it's like love and death. Sometimes when people in love, one of them say they cannot see the petty follies that they themselves do commit. And sometimes when people dead, they cry so much, they buy a coffin for $50,000 and then they have to sell the house and the land because they were so emotional. So sometimes when we're happy, we brain don't work, only we heart.
Yeah.
So that could be it.
All right.
Yes, scholar. Thank you. Yes, it is important that sometimes I understand the trade unions so happy with the victory that sometimes they get irrational and emotional. And I said before, I was not satisfied with the trade union appetite to fight because they even abandoned the protocol in place to settle dispute. There is a protocol that you go, the employer and the employer sit down and talk. When that breaks down, you go to the Ministry of Labor. When that breaks down, you go to the Minister of Labor. And they had to beg the trade union about 2-3 years ago to continue the protocol. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome.
I just come, I don't know where, I just reach and I want to punch.
Well, you could punch.
Yeah. What I've been saying, I just from St. Patrick East, and most of the people say to send a message for them. Tell the people that situation on Sunday would not change them. No how. So they jumping up with that about Pamela Moses make a mistake. They have that all about on the street, all on Facebook, thinking that I believe they say a jungling man hold on to straw. Because any little thing they get, they pick on it. Although you told me yesterday that is politics. Probably if it was the other side, they would have done it as well. But I don't think they would have go the extra mile. I don't think so. I don't know if you agree with me. But this would not. So.
You don't think this thing going to change the price of milk?
Well, that's what they think, because they keep.
I said you don't believe it will change anything.
Yes, I heard it on the street in Saturday.
You do not believe there will be any political fallout from that issue. It's just a mistake.
So I just met Pamela then. I told her, don't worry that.
All right.
As I state again, and I state it again, I believe that the NDC this time will get more blows now than in 2018. Why? Because they have a weak leadership. The Nazim Bok team was more organized and was more popular, and they get blows. And this fella, who just come from the top, nobody knows him before, and they believe and say he's a bright man and he's a liar. Being a lawyer is not being a politician. That's a lot of people getting tied up with. Or being a bright man does not. The late child told me so, and all now it is reading today. Being a bright man does not mean that you have to be a politician, or being a lawyer does not mean you have to be. That could make you a leader. So I want Grenadians to hold on to that and don't change a good thing.
All right, Colin. Yeah.
Don't change a good thing.
Yes, thank you, Colin. Yeah. Yes, the members of the different political parties, one of the things we always have to try to be in Grenada to be as tolerant as possible. And don't get worked up. Be tolerant, both sides. Do your work in the field, but be tolerant. Remember, people make mistakes, particularly when you're speaking. Sometimes your mouth running faster than your brain. It happens to everybody. You could go and research political bloops from presidential political bloops. They have it piled up. But nothing is wrong in kicking on politicians. And I have said that Grenadian politicians set a high level, a high standard of tolerance for criticism. Kit Mitchell has been criticized left, right, and center. Gregory Bowen has been criticized mercilessly. And Nazim Bok has been ravished with criticism. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
ma'am.
Yeah, when I call and say about you have to love those who hate you, that's not my word. That's the word of God. All right? Because I wasn't saying what the word of God said. We have to love. Okay, something is difficult.
Caller, of course, it is a difficult thing to love. But some people believe that when you love people, you have to hug them up.
No.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that.
But sometimes when you love people, you don't hold it against them.
Exactly.
And you forgive them. And sometimes it is better for you.
Exactly.
Because you hear the person speaking in tongue, you get vexed in tickler. But if you forgive them and you say it's a brother, I love them, that's all right. So yeah.
Yeah.
And political love is slightly different.
Yep.
From romantic love. Yeah, it's like different thing. Yeah. Yeah. We have to encourage, based upon our Christian position, you encourage, they say, love your enemies. And it's not easy. But sometimes they say, love your enemies and love your friends too. Because you don't know which one is your enemy and which one is your friend. So it's an important thing for us to love. When you love people, don't mean you have to hug them up. Or even though you forgive somebody, we have a call on the line. Even though you forgive somebody who stole your money, it doesn't mean you will put your purse in front of them because you forgive them. You just not holding it against them, but you keep your money far away from them. The number to call is 442-0175. Let me read this caller. Mr. Pierre, just my opinion. I believe you should cut off all call when at least 12:45 so you can give a summary. Call should be between a certain time and callers should have a limited time. The whole idea is we believe that we have reached the state of political maturity and we want people to punch. Sometimes they want you to make your main point because you could always call back. And then you could speak on one subject matter and we on the radio program regularly and another subject matter. We want to kind of encourage this kind of smooth debate. So we provoking discussion. So when you're in the rum shop, the discussion could continue. Because within an hour, it is difficult to do justice to any subject matter. But we want to encourage people to discuss issue. We want to encourage parents to hold discussion with your children. Discuss issue of politics with your children. And always ask them why. Why you dislike this person? Why you support this person? What alternative you have to the Imani program? What suggestion you have for program Fly? Why is it you disagree with the government economic policies now? Caller, punch.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my caller. Welcome.
Well, I was a bit concerned about the rise in the amount of COVID cases. Apparently it's gone up again. I don't know if it's because of the cricket and the different rallies, etc. I don't know. I don't want to judge. But it's just that I'm very, very concerned after we had relaxed all our protocols, etc. I mean, the legal part of it, that we're seeing that there's a definitely increase and there may be a correlation between it, that's the correct word, but you know what I'm talking about, between the getting rid of the law and relaxing of the thing. But nevertheless, even though the government had taken that decision, because all about doing the same thing and all about seeing a rise in COVID cases, but I'm still calling on the public. I'm not calling on the government to reinstitute it. Maybe they might be looking at that because as far as I'm concerned, it's rising alarmingly a bit high. But I'm calling on the public, despite what the government says, to practice the different protocol that is written by the World Health Organization. Keep your distance, stop this amount of crowd, and most importantly, wear a mask. Because sometimes if you're in a crowd like a rally, etc., once you're outside, then you could take a chance because you know the breeze and so. Inside is a horse of a different color. People must wear their mask. So I'm making it clear. I'm calling on people to still try and see if you all could observe the protocol. Wear your mask and avoid crowds. And if you have to be in a crowd, try and don't, because I know right now the political season is on. We have to have elections and there could be a crowd. And like I say, the virus probably might survive. It ain't so bad outside because the breeze is blowing if it's inside. But I'm calling on people to be mindful, take control of your life and practice the proper protocol as laid down by the World Health Organization. That's all I could advise the people to keep our nation. We have to keep it down. We have to keep the numbers because it seems to be a rising high. Thank you, Mr. Pierre. Have a great day.
Yes, scholar, thank you very, very much for that, because it's only about 36% of the people, I think 30-something percent of the people that is fully vaccinated. And that is very low. In addition to that, you're seeing people are not going to vaccinate their children for some of the other disease that is protected. The whole world is sitting down and saying, we cannot continue to lock down our economy. We have an option that is available, and we cannot do nothing for people except making it mandatory for people to take the vaccine. So I think the policy in a local balance is who dead will give you the best option. I like that this caller called me there. I might have forget it on my program. Otherwise I would have do it first. We plead with people, particularly those who don't have good food. If you over 60, if your immunity is compromised, If you have diabetes, sugar, high blood pressure, cancer, if you are asthmatic, please get vaccinated. Wear a mask. If you are outside in the open air and you have a mask and you're trying to hand sanitize, you may be exposed and yet not get infected. When you go in the vehicle, make sure you have a mask. There is some relax on people visiting supermarkets, but based upon the amount of affected cases, you're going to see that tightening up. Because when you're inside a supermarket, you're a sitting duck. People come there and bring it for you. Workers are giving trouble to put on a mask. And that's why I believe the political leaders, the religious leaders, the civil leaders should still calling on people to get vaccinated. What is wretched about it? Mostly all these leaders are vaccinated. The religious leaders take vaccination. The political leaders take vaccination. The civil leaders take vaccination. And they're moving around. Because of the high percentage in Grenada, that is, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome, and you're the last caller.
Good evening, afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Go right ahead.
And afternoon to the listener then.
Yeah.
Mr. Pierre, I would like to know, I saw on the news a few weeks ago, Senator Nolan Cox was posing where that project in Ghana that they call it Kawana Bay Beach Resort. Mr. Pierre, do you know the current status of that project?
No.
That project, if I'm right, I might be subject to correction. That project is in the hands of arbitration or mediation in the International Center for Settlement of Investment Dispute. And nothing is going on there at the moment, I think. But I saw they was posting it on some social media. It could be GIS, I'm subject.
The social media post, was it from the government or just opposition or somebody?
That's what I'm not sure.
Because you see, we have to be very careful on what on social media.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so perhaps we could, yeah.
Promoting this project. They was promoting it as an election gimmick, I should say. But this project is in the hands of the International World Bank Center in tribunal.
So what's wrong with that?
What's wrong? It's going to owe Grenadians millions of money.
Suppose they win the case.
They wouldn't win that case.
How then use the judge? You can't say that.
They win
that mean you judge the case.
They win the
That mean you judge the case.
I know.
They did not go with WRB because the question was the quantity of money they dissatisfied with. And they said that was what was agreed on, so you have to stick with it. So you see, not because we may not like it or not, if they go to arbitration, that is the protocol, that is the procedure in place in settling dispute.
But what caused the dispute, first of all?
You have dispute when people do not obey and they disagree on what it is. And we reach, sorry, caller, we are at the end of the time, sorry, on target. Thank you.
Sound of it. Our ethnicities, the bonds that unite us are strong.